Hello and welcome everyone to the e-commerce World Review Week. This is the summer edition, so just be tuned to hear all our reports and country reports and webinars about the last research. Thank you again for joining us today. Our focus of today's session is the e-commerce market in Spain. We have just released an in-depth e-commerce report. You can find the report and all the details on our website, and the link are in your webinar information. The report is free to retailers and brands. Of course, we will send you the presentation and feel free to use our graphs, but make sure as well to download the full report. I'm happy to have in the studio with me today a great guest. So let me welcome Carmen Quimby. So Carmen, hi, thank you for being with us today. Please introduce a bit of yourself and a bit of Tilium and your role at the company.
Okay, so thank you so much, Ludovica, also for inviting me here to this webinar and collaborating this report for Spain. Well, my name is Carmen Sanemeterio, and I'm the director of Tilium for Spain and Portugal. And well, Tilium is a MarTech company focused on customer data management.
Okay, great. In our next slides, we have an overview of the reports. As you can see, there are many graphs and many statistics in the report. Today, we do not have the time to go through each single graph. Therefore, make sure to download the report. But of course, the focus of today is to understand the general working system of the e-commerce market in Spain. And we have Carmen to help us go through this selection of graphs. First of all, Spain's population growth is expected to go to inverse from 2030. This is due to a declining younger population, as we saw in most of European countries. Internet proliferation continues to grow, and 35 to 44 years old have the strongest representation of Internet users. Although Internet use is slightly higher than representation to the EU average, the percentage of e-shoppers is actually lower compared to the region. More than half of e-shoppers spend at least 15 euros a month online, and a quarter spend around 120 euros or more. So, Carmen, what are the main characteristics you see among consumers in Spain?
Well, if you look at the graphics, basically, I think the percentage of the internet user is quite good in comparison with the European Union, but we are still having, I think, a large opportunity for growth in online shopping. So, for example, well, if you think about the UK level of online shoppers, it's around 90 or over 90%. So we have a potential of growing of over 30-40% in e-commerce in the next years. And also, if you look at the basically the monthly spending, also there is a big opportunity there, because if we are able to move some of these aging segments, especially I think from 25 or maybe 35 till 55 years old, from monthly spending of, I would say, over a 25, 50k euros to the next level, which is over 120, just pushing, grocery, online shopping, or entertainment, which is, I think, one of the most popular for these segments. We can grow also a lot in the volume of sales on e-commerce. So I think we have a good foundation because of the penetration of internet users, but we have an opportunity for growth a lot in sales and also in online shoppers. And I think the gap that we have is, and we will discuss probably this later in detail, is that the retailers in Spain should generate much better experiences in digital. I think a lot of them moved to e-commerce during this COVID situation, but there is a lot of opportunity for improvement, especially in generating better digital experiences.
Okay, yeah, that's really true, and also that Spain has a lot to grow as well because the market is not that mature as some Northern European countries.
Right.
Therefore, there is still space to grow in in every sector, I believe. And as you mentioned, yes, grocery will grow with also the COVID-19 that, of course, had a huge impact in our e-commerce market. If we move to the next slide, we see that e-commerce is actually seeing a big growth into the region, recording an almost 20% points between 2017 and 2020. Younger shoppers are more likely to opt to shop on their mobiles, as is understandable. And m-commerce is actually expected to grow faster than any other country in Western Europe, as we were mentioning before. The main reasons consumers prefer m-commerce over desktop or laptop are speed, freedom, and simplicity. So, Carmen, how do you think first-party data are related to m-commerce?
Well, it's basically Uncommerce is everything about first party data because it's through this app. And indeed, well, if you look at the graphic, what you see also in Spain is that this mobile commerce is growing very fast. In this, I think I have a reference which is represents right now over 1/3 of total e-commerce sales, which is really good, but it's still growing a lot. And I think indeed the consumers, and I have some studies reporting this, prefer apps to complete purchases via mobile. Okay, after maybe doing some research in other channels. So there is a lot of potential in the mobile commerce as well, but we're still seeing this gap in relation to the experience in the graphics. There is a need for the retailers in Spain to improve the experiences in mobile, and also not just in mobile, also to create seamless experiences through all the digital channels. And I think this is one of the challenges they will have in the next years. And indeed, based on the experience we have in Chilion, they are working on this and investing on this. And also they should invest on this, as you mentioned, because, well, there are some disruptions in the market right now
Mhm.
that are generated basically for the more rigid data privacy regulation, and also the changes in the browsers that are forcing, I think, all the industries, but concretely the retailers, to move from cookie customer acquisition strategy to a first-party data one. So much to do for the retailers. However, I think the habits of the Spanish society to convert on mobile, I think it's also a great opportunity for them. And our experience is that retailers are investing on this direction.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. And you were mentioning consumers' experience. So retailers should do more to grant a nice and a good consumer experience via their different devices. But what we have understand from our analysis and our research is that probably retailers are a bit concerned from when the COVID-19 crisis will pass and um, consumers will go back to in-shop buying and shopping. So maybe they are a bit scared to invest more on online consumer experience due to the go back to in-store shopping. What do you think?
Well, this is not what we are experiencing in the Spanish market with our customers, because what they are seeing is that COVID-19 has accelerated the digitization, and they need to take advantage of this, because there are some things that will be back to the pre-COVID situation,
Mhm.
pre-pandemic situation, but there are things that are here to stay in relation to the consumer habits. So what we are seeing in our customers is that they are much more focused in, I would say, bridging the online shopping with the offline one. And
Okay.
also what we are seeing is that they are also implementing some changes in the physical stores, introducing technology as well. And one of the big challenges that they are finding, and this is the way we help also customers and companies in the world, is as they are using different technologies in I would say in the physical stores, for the mobile commerce, for the desktops, for the webs, and also we are missing something like the influence that the social networks are also having in the purchase. What they need to do in order, to meet this new consumer expectation of omnichannel shopping is bringing all this customer data together, in a unique point to be accessible to all the channels. And in the discussions we have, the companies in Spain, especially with retailers, they are super focused on this with a roadmap, which is really on the ground. It's doing this step by step with quick wins in an scalable way, because also it will generate a change in the culture of the company, in the way they are seeing their customers and they are approaching to them.
Okay, that's really interesting. Thank you for your insights. If we move to the next one, we can see that multi-sector stores dominate web traffic with 2/5 of all unique visits over the 12 months. The influence of marketplaces in Spain is significant, and price sensitivity of consumers means that such sites are a natural choice. For those retailers within the largest 100 research that we conduct that do have headquarters in Spain, nearly a third of the web traffic comes from domestic consumers. Spain dominates the countries where the largest 100 retailers are headquartered, with almost a 29% share, closely followed by France and the US. And Carmen, where is the e-commerce market going in the future?
Well, first thing, Ludovica, when I'm looking at this graphic, I would love this to be like the French one. You know what I mean, I think, no? Uh,
Yes.
when we are looking the web traffic destination from Spain, I would like the percentage which is coming, which is destined to Spain, would be higher. Okay,
Hmm.
and I think this is a goal for the Spanish retailers. And also, well, if you look at this graphic, you see that there is a quite significant, high percentage, which destination is China. And I think this is also related to one of the characteristics of the Spanish market, which is that there are a large group of people which is very sensitive to price. No? So
Okay.
this is a direction that the market is taking, I think, worldwide, but concretely in Spain. It's about generate more personalized experiences. Also, due, I would say, to the disruption, created by this future of cookieless and so on, moving from audiences to personas,
Hmm.
which is going to be much more efficient in terms of the results that the retailers are going to take. But also trying to generate much more engagement with their current customers and also with the new ones. That brings us again to invest much more in collecting and I would say activate much more the first party data.
Okay. And you were mentioning that we have to keep the new consumers continue shopping online and above all from Spanish retailers. What do you think are the main strategies that retailers have to adopt to keep these new consumers?
Mhm. Well, I think the first one is to understand the customer, okay, and having with them a real conversations, and also engage with them through values, which I think is another tendency in the market.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to do this, what happened is that retailers have been collecting a lot of data indeed from their activities. But right now is the time, and this is part of the roadmap strategy of the retailers in Spain, is use this data and activate it in order to get results. So this is part of the strategy. And on the other hand, I think, well, omni-channel shopping is here to stay, much more after much more as with the impact of the vaccination, we are turning, to buy physically again and so on. So as part of the strategy of the retailer is unify the customer profile in order to be much more efficient using the customer profile and also activating the data they have. And also, on the other hand, to create these experiences that should be digital and also physical.
Okay, that's really interesting, and something that then comes to my mind is most of consumers and most of people actually around the world, so not only Spain, are a bit scared to buy online due to security concerns. So you were mentioning, of course, all this data, but what are the strategies to increase or encourage people to shop online without fearing their data to be stolen, for example?
Mhm, mhm. Well, I think COVID-19 has helped a lot on this,
Mm.
okay, because push the society to be much more online. So I think it has been an advantage, and retailers and all the companies should leverage on this. But also, one of the main challenges of retailers is basically privacy first, which means uh,
Yes.
put a strategies in their activities, especially in the digital ones, of course, to transmit to the consumer a new consumer indeed that feels much more comfortable buying online, but is a little fed up of so many I would say pop-ups asking him for giving his consent to the for using his cookies. At this point, this is going to change in the
Hmm.
future. And also, that receives a lot of messages and campaigns every time that is given the mail, not to a brand and so on. So they generate much better, I would say much better, not much trusted and engaged and true relationship with the consumers. And in order to do this, starting with privacy, I think it's a must. In order be transparent on how the retailer is using the data, providing also value, in this exchange of information and in every interaction. So I think it's not just about technology; it's about the strategies the retailers should put in their activities in the next year in order to get engaged this new consumer, which is much more, I would say, exigent, no, in this relationship with the brand.
Okay, thank you. Um, then we have already talked a lot about COVID-19. We have some graphs to show because there is a section in our report where we dig a bit more in the consequences, positive or negative. It depends from which side you look at it. But of course, all the consequences that COVID-19 had on the Spanish e-commerce market. As we know, COVID-19 hit Spain quite hard, as we did for most countries around the world, and its economy as well, but has also changed buying patterns across the sectors, which can be seen as a positive aspect. In Spain, more than half of shoppers made most of their purchases online before COVID, so they were already consumers. But nearly 1 in 4 say they have been tempted away from a physical store preference and will now buy more online. So we already spoke a bit about COVID, but if you have any other aspects that you think COVID has brought to the Spanish e-commerce market, what will it be?
Mhm, mhm. Well, I think we are talking about the digital world, but I think COVID is also changing the physical one. And I think you mentioned before what's going to happen after the pandemic, no? When consumers are going back to the streets and going again to the store. But the thing is that retailers are still having a challenge in order to get levels of traffic in the stores that they had pre-pandemic, because people are still in the situation where it's not clear, the security in the stores, and also they get used to buy online and so on. So in this meantime, what we are seeing with our customers, with the Ethereum customers here in Spain, is that while they are taking advantage in order to implement also new strategies in relation on how the physical store should be, in terms of they're redesigning the physical store, introducing new technologies. There are a lot of indeed shops that are moving to e-showrooms. They are working a lot in a flexible, I would say, delivery of products. So you can buy online, you can go to the shop in order to return the product, for example, or to collect the product. Also flexibility on payments. They are reviewing all the I would say distribution supply chain of in the retailing industry, in terms of which new partnerships they should build in all the steps of this chain. And they are thinking about internationalization as well, which countries they should go. So I think for me, indeed, which is positive of the COVID, is that it's pushing, the rethinking of the, in general, all the business, but concretely the retailers. And I think this is good, because this is something that was expected by the consumers probably before the pandemic, but right now it's a must. As we said, companies are changing, but it's because the society was already moving in this direction, and right now it's a reality.
Yes, it did really push to retailers to do better and to hear more the consumers and their desires in a way.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mhm. Yeah. Last point we have for our presentation is about sustainability. So Spain isn't led by the issue of sustainability. Instead, it remains a marginal trend. At Spanish giant Inditex, sustainability is one of the three key pillars on which its business is built. Spanish consumers feel strongest about ethics, and 86% of consumers say that they want retailers to have fair workplace practices and ensure their supplies also have high standards and community welfare, with more than a third saying that they feel strongly about it. So, in general, we didn't see that sustainability is a strong point for e-commerce in Spain, but at the same time, we see consumers pushing in that direction. What are your thoughts on this topic for the e-commerce in Spain?
Uh-huh. Yes, well, I totally agree. Right now, this is a strong trend in the retailers industry. Uh, Also, this is stronger in some segments, like the younger people, or well, specific segments that have been always worried about sustainability. And indeed, it's not just about sustainability; it's about values.
Mhm.
There are new values also, I think, in the consumers. One is this, but I think another one is transparency, diversity, respect. And I remember, well, maybe, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago, when we were discussing about the changes, in the consumers related to, they wanted to communicate, with the brands and having conversations, versus in the past where the brand was just telling their stories to the consumers, no. But right now we are in another level, I think, which is the consumers are asking for a quality in these conversations. And
Okay.
also this is related to the personalization, no? That
Yes.
they're asking for. So I think the Spanish market and the retailers in Spain, there were, of course, some of them in advance in the situation, no, but in general, they are in a modernization process in this, and
Mhm.
they have already understand, and this will make much more successful these companies in the future, that they need to connect with their consumers, and to connect with the consumers they need to be honest, and also engage with the same values that the society is asking for. So we started. The level of maturity is low, but I think it's clear in the C levels of the retailers in Spain that this is a must.
It is. It is. And something we have seen around Europe as well is the second-hand e-commerce purchases. We
Right.
saw the boom of this app Vinted. Do you see the same in Spain, or do you think there is some differences probably?
No, I think we are seeing the same, and indeed we are seeing very creative initiatives locally. And we have companies like, for example, Wallapop that were specialized on this, and they are doing also partnerships with brands. And I think this is going to grow much more in this year, in 2021, and also in the next ones. Why? Because, well, this is attached to this value that we are discussing right now, but it's also aligned with this price sensitive profile of a big number of Spanish. No?
Mhm.
So you have two objectives covered, no, in this kind of initiative. No? So and what also one of the things that we are seeing here in Spain that is being developed very fast is communities,
Okay.
in order to push, for example, the local commerce, well, in regions or in cities. And so people are also, this is another, characteristics of the future of the commerce, and it's going to be very strong in Spain. They are looking for collaborations. So
Mhm.
yeah, we will see new ways to to sell in the retail market in the next years.
Yes, that's true. And we are really looking forward to know all the news and new trends. Before wrapping up, I would like to remind our guests to download the report first. And if you have any questions, Carmen and I think we are more than happy to answer. Of course, the report covers much more sections and much more graphs. So first, go download the report. If you have any questions, please drop us a note. And we also would like to know what you would like to see in the next year report, because as everyone knows, the research has already started. And so, yeah, just let us know. Carmen, to wrap up our session today, I would like um, to hear from you the three key points about Spanish e-commerce market for retailers to join the market and for consumers and brands to be more aware. So what are the three main key points of Spanish e-commerce market?
Yeah. Well, the first thing, I feel very optimistic. It's true that there is so much to do and there are big challenges, but I think there is also a big opportunity, especially for the ones that take advantage of this current situation and get ready for the future. So the three main, I would say, advices, no, or things I will recommend to the retailers is first thing I would say is you need to understand your customer. So you need to have
Mhm.
a unified customer profile in the company and share it with all the teams that are interacting with the customers, and also a well-defined strategies to achieve consumers. I think the second thing is that you need to personalize your interaction with the customer and be honest, in terms of engaging in values with the consumers. And I would say the third thing is you need to think about a roadmap in order to provide omni-channel experiences, digital and not digital. Because although right now we have a lot of, I would say, buying points or buying influencing points for the retailers, the point is that in the future this is going to be very dynamic, very creative, and you need to be ready for all this.
Okay. Thank you so much, Carmen, for joining us today. It has been a pleasure to hear all your feedback and suggestions and comments related to the Spanish e-commerce market. We are really looking forward to research the next year to have you once more in our session. So thank you again, Carmen. Thank you everyone for joining us today. And there are some more webinars during our e-commerce review week. So don't miss them out. And yeah, thank you again so much.
Thanks to you. Bye.